Hello, and we are live. Welcome to my webinar today. My name is Angela Middleton. Most of you will know who I am. And while you're joining, great to see a few of you here who obviously do know who I am because you're clients already. And those of you who are not as well, so lovely to see you. There's a lot of you who've signed up today. While we're just waiting, and I know sometimes these webinars can get really annoying because there's so much of an intro. So I'm really going to spare you that, and I'm really not going to spend too much time on the intro before I get into the content of what I want to talk to you about. I have a little dog here who loves to get on my lap and interrupt me at appropriate moments. If you see a little head bobbing around, that's who that is. And you've basically got me as I am. It's a Saturday afternoon. I've been running around all morning, and this is I'm generally in gym kit because I nearly always go to the gym on a Saturday morning, which has gone behind me now, so that's all right. So yeah, let me just I'll pop something in the chat just to get your attention with the chat, and give me your what's your location? I can see your name mainly. What's your location and your main question for today? Main things that you want me to cover, because then I'll make sure that I do in this short webinar. So like I say, name's Angela. I am 61 years old, and I have had a 20-year corporate career, 10 years at BP and 10 years at Barclays. And then I've had another 20-year entrepreneurial career where I've started businesses from scratch. The biggest one was valued at 32 million. You know, we had a tremendous team of 180 staff and 14 offices. And in the last, since 2018, I've very much been into a more holistic approach to success. My businesses had always been in things like training, recruitment, working with newly unemployed professionals, mum returners, kids just coming out of school and university, very specific niches of professionals, you know, taking them out of one job and putting them into another. Very much what I realized was the difference in someone's performance was not just to do with their skill set, but it was also to do with their mindset, their preparation, so that preparation could meet opportunity. And later on in the last few years, what I realized as well, it was about their physical and mental resilience, because, you know, without that, then it's very difficult for us to do anything. So in the last 5 years, I've become much more involved in fitness and combining that with resilience and combining that with, you know, what do we do with that fit and resilient body in terms of our career. So combining the whole thing. And as the years have gone on and I've worked with more and more clients, it's become even wider. And I very often end up training someone physically. Then I'll be talking to them about careers coaching. And then after that, we'll end up talking about their family. I'll be coaching on relationships. I'm a qualified relationship coach as well. You know, just basically helping people to get to where they want. And that's individuals. They tend to be senior in a company, or they tend to own their own company, primarily because I suppose the sort of age group that I attract is 40s, 50s, 60s. So people have progressed in their career quite a bit by then. If you want to find out more about me and my history, because like I say, I don't want to bore you with too much of that detail now, then you can go to my website, angelamiddleton.com. And actually, if you look at me on Instagram at Angela Middleton or LinkedIn at Angela Middleton, you'll see, you know, every day I'm posting things from my life and from my work. And I very recently, just in fact last weekend, did an interview with my son where I talked to him all about my history. And it's funny because he's 31, we're very close. And he said, oh God, I didn't know some of that stuff. So if you want to know about my history, then please go back and have a look there. But what I want to talk to you about today is a couple of things. We have been talking for a while now about a platinum membership of Your Body Means Business. And the reason really that prompted this webinar was because people were asking what's in it. People are familiar with programs that we run. I do face-to-face coaching, I do group coaching, and we have developed a lot of online courses over the years as well. And as a result of that, we've achieved lots of transformations, physical transformations where you can see someone has literally aged backwards and they've lost weight and they're so much more confident. Also career transformations where people have gone from either being in a job they don't enjoy, or they haven't got a job, or they have a business that's failing, through to where they want to be, a better job, a different job, a business that's now thriving. There's one particular example that I love talking about because that went from really seriously struggling, doing no business during COVID, to quadrupling her turnover and really thriving. So I teach a lot of that. But also what's really been an interest of mine for some time, and particularly since 2016, I suppose, when I had my own personal transformation, physical transformation, was the whole area of biohacking. And I'm fit, I've got like the six pack and everything, but it wasn't always like this. And if you look at my photos, I did definitely do my own transformation. At the age of 61, I'm probably fitter and stronger than I certainly was in my mid-20s, and that, most people are in their 20s actually. And I say that without bragging, but what I want to do is show you what's possible. You can be any age, you can be any shape or size, and you can achieve whatever it is in your body, in your mindset, in your business, in your relationship, and in the rest of your life. But when my sort of transformation caught the attention of the newspapers, which it did in 2017, they put it down to biohacking. I think I mentioned the biohacking word, and that was it. The paper sort of latched onto it. But in all seriousness, I am interested in biohacking, and I do teach longevity as well. I run a whole masterclass on longevity. It's called the Longevity Program, where I do live every Wednesday with a group of people and teach longevity. So I'm going to tell you today in this short webinar what's actually included in the platinum membership, and you'll get an opportunity to take advantage of some offers at the end of it. So do stay on for that, because it'll only be available through this webinar. And I'll also explain to you my latest thinking on biohacking and longevity. So, and if you have any questions, like I said, then do pop them up in the comments here. I can see some of these locations, a lot in UK, some in Europe, and no doubt when this gets aired at a different time, we'll probably have some US people here as well. Our clients do actually come from all around the world. I was really interested to see that. For a long time when I was doing the sort of traditional bricks and mortar business, was primarily UK clients. But with our advancing in technology, particularly following pandemic, we have clients from everywhere now, and it's the same. They get the same. They have the same problems, the same obstacles, the same challenges, but also the same opportunities, and they get brilliant transformations from no matter where they are. We've had men and women, all different ages and all different locations. So no one is excluded from this, although I do for some reason tend to attract women in their 40s, 50s and 60s, I guess, because being a female myself. But I would hasten to say that we've done a lot of this work with men as well, and men have got their first six pack and things like that. So let's talk about biohacking and longevity first of all, in very simple terms. In terms of definition, you'll see there's a lot of talk about biohacking. I don't know whether everyone has quite the same definition, but my definition of biohacking is where you have enough data to tell you what's going on in your body biologically. And then what you do is you employ strategies which are very individual to you, because obviously, your data is only about you. It's very individual. So you employ individual strategies to improve that data, hence improve your biology, and hence improve your health and your well-being, and ultimately your longevity. Longevity, what I mean by that is living for a longer time healthily. So having a healthy, longer lifespan. It's not just living long for the sake of it. So it's a longevity lifespan. But for me, there is another aspect to longevity, and that is, not just being here and being fit, although obviously that's brilliant with the use of biohacking, but also, it costs money, doesn't it, to live and to live well and to do all the things that we want to do. So it's also longevity. It also has a component of career in it. If we're going to live strong, vibrant, healthy lives for longer, we need more money. And so that means that we won't be retiring at 60 unless we've done very, very well and have enough money to see us through for maybe another 60 years. Because that's the other point, is if you talk to most biohackers and most people interested in longevity, they sort of seem to be settling at the moment at an expected lifespan of about 120. The average at the moment is 70 to 80, as you know. In most places, it's actually gradually climbing, although interestingly, in the US, it's declining at the moment, and I'll explain to you why in a minute. But yeah, they tend to agree around about 120. But, you know, I've been to events, you know, for example, I was at a 4-day thing in Montenegro, where there are all the scientists and researchers from the world looking at longevity. They were talking about 150. One even mentioned about 1,000 years old, because there are creatures on this planet who can live that long. So, but generally speaking, we're talking about trying to extend our lifespan from 70 to 80 to about 120, and to do that really healthily, and to be productive, and to be earning money, and to, you know, live out all of our days, you know, along with our colleagues and friends doing the same, and to do that productively and, like I say, comfortably, with enough money to do it. So we have produced courses to tackle every aspect of life, you know, ranging from your body and how you look after that, to your mindset and how you look after that, to your career and how you can pivot career and enhance careers, and all the way through to you know, things like relationships, how you can manifest, you know, the use of manifestation and spirituality, and all other aspects of life. So we've got the whole remit of different courses, and actually, I suppose the 3 entry points that people tend to take is either a 30-day challenge. So it's 30 days where every day I sort of tell you what to do to reset your life. There's small, very manageable tasks. If you particularly want to start with mindset, there's a 28-day meditation program where, again, every day I will guide you through the whole process of meditation. So if you're a bit concerned, you're not sure where to start or how to do it, or if you're doing it right, I take you through every different type of modality of meditation, and make it really easy for you to sort of become a meditator. And that's what people say in the testimonials. And other places that people start is with our Best Year Ever program, which is 8 modules. I think it's 6 or 8 modules, and that one really helps you to get your thoughts in order before you reset your life. You know, it really talks you through a process of being able to get a plan in place. So people start from different entry points, and the thing is that when they buy a program, they keep all the modules of that program. But what we're offering as part of the Platinum Partnership is access to all of it. And not just that, you keep all of it for all the time you're paying the membership. And the membership's tiny. Honestly, it's lower than the price of a coffee, which I particularly wanted because I know everybody goes and gets a coffee, well, most people. And so it's lower than the price of a coffee. And all the time you subscribe, you get access to everything, and not just the material that's already there, but I'm adding material all the time. So you get all the new stuff. So obviously my learning's certainly not finished. Every time I learn something, I add more modules. And so you get all of that as well. So, yeah, biohacking is a method, an individualized method of tapping into your data, looking at your biology, and implementing strategies which help you to not die, basically, to keep you resilient, and to live very, very healthily. And longevity is about doing that, you know, for a longer period of time. So what I wanted to do, have the structure of this, is to tell you the 3 things that basically are the most important in longevity. And then after that, I'm going to tell you the different strategies that I implement for my own biohacking, and where I think that you could get started. And then once you've got a flavor of that, you can read around the subject. And then if you want, you can join the Platinum membership, and you can get stuck into all the modules where I give you all of the detail, exactly what to do, like I said. So 3 main areas of biohacking. The first one is to avoid things that kill us. So I know that sounds a bit weird, but, you know, if you think about what kills us, it is really primarily it's caused by the outside, or it's caused by what's going on the inside. So if we look at what happens on the outside, there's either external toxins, isn't there? Or there's a sort of on the inside, there's a self-sabotage where we're impacting our body and stopping it working properly, or there's just a malfunction. There's basically a malfunction. We are a machine and the machine stops working. So that's what I'd say. There's three main areas that can sort of cause the problem: the external factors, the internal self-sabotage, or alternatively, we just get a malfunction. We're doing everything that we think, but we don't know what we don't know. So let's have a look at those. So firstly, the external toxins and the external issues. If you think about what's going on around us, I mean, firstly, we have the obvious, getting run over, falling off of something, falling over, tripping up, all of these accidents that we hear about. So that's the first thing. We have to be mindful that this can happen at any time. And, I know of people that have been looking at their phone, jumping out the car. They're so absorbed in what they're doing, and they've actually fallen and been run over. One particular, my ex-hairdresser, thank God she survived. But, that happened to her. And I know I've heard of that happening to more than one person. So we do have to be really careful. Silly accidents where we're just not thinking because we're running at 100 miles an hour and we fall off something. I know someone else who stepped backwards and fell over something and ended up having, terrible skin grafts and things like that. So falling off bikes, having car crashes. We just have to be very careful. We are very vulnerable in some ways, human being. And then after that, there's all the other sort of what's known as the silent killers that are in our life. Plastic, we're absorbing plastic. And once it gets into our body, we can't get it out. So it's impossible, I think, in this day and age to absolutely avoid all plastic. But, I have my watering glass, for example, but it has got a plastic lid. What can you do there? But, try to avoid plastic where you can. If you look at the toxins in chemicals, everything from dishwashers to apparently tea bags to, all the chemicals that we actually put on our skin. So looking at the cleaner versions of those. And obviously processed food that is so processed that it is calorie dense and virtually no nutrients in it whatsoever, and so tasty that we want to carry on eating and eating and eating it. If you think about chicken and broccoli, you can't really eat too much of that because it gets a bit boring, doesn't it? But that's what food is supposed to be like. Whole foods are supposed to be dense. They're supposed to be highly nutritious, and they're supposed to be satiating. And as a result of that, we don't have to eat too much. And as a result of that, we don't get fat. Whereas if you take something like a donut or a McDonald's, where you've got scientists who are actually working so hard to make sure it's exactly the right texture that we want to carry on eating it, and it's got like the right mix of salt and sugar and fats that our brain is sort of unaware of, that, it's just craving more of it, and it causes an addiction, same with sugar. So there's a lot of external toxins in the world that we may not be aware of. Like I said, someone even mentioned yesterday, tea bags, the fact that we're putting like a plastic bag into our tea. Tampons is another one. Those of you still having cycles, do look at the cleaner, more natural versions of tampons, and better still, don't use tampons. The stuff that we put on our face, makeup, things like, lipstick. There was something on the internet about how much lipstick, the average lipstick wearer eats in a period of decades. I mean, just doesn't bear thinking about. And so, considering going more natural, face free of makeup, using a more natural moisturizer, using olive oil. I personally use olive oil all over my skin. But you can use coconut oil as well. So these are the external toxins to be aware of. They're not the sexy things. Very often people don't talk about them, but they can be the silent killers. So that's the first one. Now, the second one that I want to tell you about, I'm sorry it's all doom and gloom. I'm going to get onto the really positive stuff that you can start to do, to age backwards and get yourself where you want to get yourself. But you need to be aware of these things. Second thing is, our body is undergoing constantly a process of renewal, cell renewal and cell repair. And the body clears up all of the cells that are sort of worn out. It's called autophagy. and gets rid of them. But if it's depleted of energy, the body, or it's depleted of sleep, then it won't do that efficiently. Especially as we get older, things start wearing out, and that's where we can end up with some issues. Cancers can form because old cells are just not being cleared out, and things that stop working properly, and we get unwell. So those sorts of things can creep up upon us, and all of a sudden we get a diagnosis, and we don't understand why, and then we can think, okay, I haven't been sleeping properly for 10 years, or I've just not I've been in stress for 10 years. And that leads me to the other one, which is this self-sabotage, actually not taking a moment to be grateful for what we have, not taking a moment to appreciate what is working rather than what isn't, not taking a moment to think about what's called the emotional scale, and just choosing how we feel, as opposed to just thinking we're a puppet on a string and we can't help it, it's everybody else's fault, and that's why we don't feel great. There's an emotional scale that I very often use. I don't know if you can see it here, but the top of that scale is to feel joy and to feel appreciation and to feel love and to feel empowered. And below that is passion, and below that is enthusiasm. At the bottom is fear, grief, depression, insecurity, guilt, jealousy, despair, powerlessness. One of the things that we can do to very quickly change that is a meditation practice where we can actually choose how we want to feel. So these are the things that can cause us to basically break down and ultimately not lead a healthy, long life. The external issues, internal self-sabotage with our mindset, and then things breaking because of lack of cell renewal, etc. So what can we do about it? I want to tell you a little bit more about that now. Firstly, we need to have data on our body. How can we possibly know what to do if we're all different? Inside we're as different as we are on the outside. Every single one of us is different. And so the more data we can have about our body, the more we then can have a individualized strategy. And I very much teach this, and you don't have to pay lots of money to know this stuff either. Firstly, you can measure your steps. So we need to know if you're a certain size, for example, and you are thinking that you want to lose weight, what we need to know is how much is coming in energy-wise and how much you're using. So we start with measuring steps, and you can do that on your iPhone. Go onto your iPhone, and you'll see there's a health app. If you've never looked before, I'm sure you will have done, but maybe not. And look at your steps. Look at sleep. How much are you really sleeping? There's a free app called Sleep Cycle. Yes, you can use an Oura Ring, but you don't have to do that right at the beginning. So you can use something called Sleep Cycle, and you can start to see how much sleep you're getting. And you need to be aiming for 7 hours, really, a minimum, ideally 8. Measuring your intake, your macros. How many carbs are you eating? How much protein? How many fats? What minerals are you getting? Are you nourishing your body with all the things that it really, really needs? What are your measurements? In particular, what's your waist to hip ratio? Because what you're looking for is an under 70 waist to hip ratio. So just a simple measure will be able to tell you that. What's your muscle mass? Do you have some muscle mass? You don't really need to measure that at this point, but just do you have some? What's your body fat? You can do that by measuring. There's calculators online that will tell you what your percentage of body fat is. You can go on to the stands in Boots and places like that, and it will tell you what your BMI is. So what sort of muscle mass do you have? What's your percentage fat ratio? And then you can check out things like your blood pressure. Let's find out what your blood pressure is. Let's look at your resting heart rate. You can tell what your resting heart rate is. If you get, again, a simple check in somewhere like Boots, they will do this for you. If you do have an Oura Ring or an Apple Watch, one of the things that is a very important and interesting metric to have is your HRV, so your heart rate variability. And that's going to tell, these would all be baseline measurements at this moment. They are what they are. I'm not going to tell you what they should be. All I'm going to say is measure them at the beginning of your journey if you're going to do a reset. and see what they all are. And obviously, if you do then want to spend some money, you can go and get a blood test done. You can do it at places like Randox. You can even then get your genetics done, because your genetics will actually, say, for example, you have low vitamin D. Well, your genetics will actually say why that is. It could just be because you have low and you need to take more, but it might well be that you have a predisposition to not absorb it. You know, me personally, I have a predisposition to hold on to too much iron. I have this thing called hemochromatosis. I never would have known that unless I'd had my genetics done and my blood test. So, and now I know, you know, it's very manageable. If I hadn't known, though, it can be fatal ultimately. That could be a slow killer. That, and we say, don't die of something stupid, you know this stuff. So get your data. So that gives you a sort of an overview of biohacking and longevity, hopefully a bit more of an understanding. That's all I want to do at this point. And now I want to run through in the next 10 minutes the key strategies. Once you know some of this information, in my opinion, these are the things that you should be doing in this order. And I wouldn't say you necessarily have to do all of them, but I would say that you would layer on these as quickly as you can. The first one is to move your body more. That means do more steps. That means if you like, you know, doing rowing or running or climbing or whatever it is, you just do more of it. So move your body more and make sure that you're active for a couple of hours every day. And then every 20 minutes, just getting up, you know, just getting up, walking around the room. Just don't sit at your desk. So move your body more. Second thing, hydrate. You know, drink more water. Try and start measuring how much you're drinking, maybe a couple of liters to start off with. Third, sleep at least for 7 hours. If you're measuring your sleep now, you'll know. And you can do things to improve your sleep. You know, a much better bedtime routine, having your bedroom more ambient, darker, cooler. All of this is going to help you. So try going to bed earlier, etc. Fourth thing, and remember I'm saying these in order of importance. Remember, I've not said anything about diets yet, because, you know, that comes after some of these things that you can do immediately. Fourth thing, meditation and some sort of journaling routine. Very first thing when you get up in the morning. Why? Because it will enable you to choose your thoughts for the day. Remember what I said about one of the big killers, self-sabotage, the way we think about things. And you know, when we're feeling negative, when we're not feeling grateful, that will send signals to every single one of the cells in our body. So all of our cells, think about them as all eavesdropping on our mind. So we want to be calming the cells down so that they can then go about their business. So meditation and journaling first thing in the morning. Next one, and we're coming on to food now, is give your body a window to digest and do all the other things like I mentioned, the autophagy. Give yourself at least 12 hours. And what that means then is if you have your dinner at 7 in the night, don't have breakfast until after 7 in the morning. If you can expand it a little bit longer, then brilliant. But at least 12 hours. People talk about intermittent fasting. That's really what that is. It just means for a period of time, don't eat. You can easily do it. Just doing it overnight, do it for 12 hours. When we do eat, cut out processed food. So anything that's got packets, anything that can't come out of the ground, then you know, just don't buy. If you don't have it in the house, you're less likely to eat it. And start to have a more calorie-rich, nutrient-dense diet, at least for 80%. And I'm not saying, you know, cut out everything processed. I'm not saying cut out all alcohol and things like that straight away. But what I am saying is 80% of your food, try and make it coming from whole foods. Now we get on to something that maybe I'm known for, which is weight training. And note that I've got that down as number 7. Because, you know, people say, oh, I must get to the gym. Oh, my God, you know, you're so fit. You're so motivated. You go to the gym. Well, one, I'm not so motivated. I'm just disciplined because I know that if I do these things, I'm going to get the result. But 2, I don't go that much. You know, I go and I have therapies and things like that, but I only train 4 to 5 times a week. And if you think, even people think that's long, but if you think in 24 hours, 1 hour to give me 23 great hours, you know, and I don't even train for a full hour. So, and you can, when you're very first starting weight training, you can do it easily 3 times a week and get some great results. So that's that. Number 8, I would then start to look at deep breathing. And, you know, you may have heard of Wim Hof breathing, but there's all sorts of mechanisms, box breathing, etc., to get more oxygen into our body. And hot and cold therapy, which doesn't mean that you have to immediately go and join a gym, you know, like I have, where there's cryotherapy and red light sauna. You can do some of these things yourself. You can steam your body, you know, in a hot bathroom. You can plunge your face into freezing cold water just for 30 seconds. And, you know, most of the impacts of cold therapy come through making your face cold. Number 9 is about relationships and contribution. You know, it's very difficult to have a long, healthy, you know, happy lifespan if you've got all sorts of issues with your network and with your family. You know, we are social creatures. So it doesn't need necessarily be your own family, but it will be your chosen family. Choose your people that you want to spend your time with. Make sure that you do get out and about, that you do have social interaction with people at least every day. And that is proven to be extremely healthy for us in all other aspects of our life, as is contribution. You know, we will do more for others than we will do for ourselves. So making sure that contribution plays a part in our weekly life. So just looking for little opportunities where you can make an impact, where you can do something for someone. It doesn't have to be a big thing where you're announcing it, and you can just quietly do it. And that is going to be, we need a purpose in our life. And no matter how large or small it is, we will feel the same dopamine hits and the same levels of happiness and satisfaction and gratitude when we are able to help someone else. And then finally, as I said at the beginning, number 10, avoiding toxins where you can. So avoiding these things which particularly look like they could, you know, things that are going to be easy to change. So maybe swapping over some of your products at home, maybe having less plastic, you know, being in places where there's less fumes, spending a bit more time out in nature, going for walks in the park, etc. And really, in a nutshell, that is the very quick overview of longevity, biohacking, and a healthy longer life. Now, obviously, can't possibly give you all the detail. We've got 5 years of content, and I've got sort of 40 odd years of experience of this, and I can't condense it all into half an hour. But what I have been able to do is to condense it all into all of these different online programs that we are now putting into the Platinum membership. So for example, we had, when we did the meditation program, I always start by running the programs live. So if people want to buy the program live, they can participate live, and they get to ask me questions like you are now. And but once we've done that, we cut it, you know, until it's a perfect version, and then we paste it into the modules. So for example, if we take the meditation program, which is my most recent one, for 28 days straight, I ran that at 5 a.m. and I ran it live. And so it had a sort of a dual purpose. Not only was it to teach people to meditate, but it was also to give people accountability, because, you know, it was really aimed at people that want to be more productive, that want to get up early in the morning, but for some reason they can't. And so what happened with them, and we charged £999 for that program, and people came on every morning, 5 a.m., did the meditations, asked questions, had a little bit of interaction, etc. And the testimonials were fantastic, you know, with people saying that they just felt so differently, because we did the journaling before the meditations, and we did look at things like, you know, how have you been thinking since you woke up, and what is it you want to think for the rest of this day? How do you want to act and feel and think, you know? So we help people choose their thoughts every day. So that was the meditation program. So it was $999 when they got it, and then we've condensed it all down. It's an individual program, which we've sold for a few hundred that people were buying. But now what we've done is we've incorporated that into the Platinum partnership. So if you're a subscriber, you are going to get access to all of these programs, and they're worth thousands all combined together. So that's one of them, the meditation one. The best year yet, I did the same thing. I did the modules I think it was every couple of days or every week, I can't remember now, at the beginning of 2022. And really, it was meant to be a series of modules to help people to make that year the best year ever. But of course, you know, we can start our best year ever anytime we want. I just had my birthday. Very often we want to sort of start a new year, a new chapter, a new version of us on our birthday, don't we? So that, what I've noticed with that is people bought that program at any time. And obviously things change. And so every year I add a new module onto that. And it's great because, you know, you see my transformation and my evolution as well in some of these. The body program, we have been updating that. The very first modules I put together in 2017, when I very first got my own transformation. It was very new to me then, and we purposely kept some of that in so that you can see me when I very first was finding my feet with, wow, I've got this new body, and now how do I maintain it? And then the modules have continued as the years have gone on, and I've become much more proficient at maintenance. You know, I mean, it's 7 years for me now that I've kept and built my body beyond, you know, what it was when I first had the transformation in 17 and had, you know, photos in the newspapers and everything. So you will have access to all of that as part of the program. And then we have the Careers Queen. I'm known as the Careers Queen. I received an MBE from Prince Charles then, King Charles, in the beginning of 2019. And that was for that work because obviously we'd made such a tremendous impact on small businesses, equipping them with their teams and advising CEOs, and also with helping people to transition into better jobs, new jobs, and start business and things. And so, as you know, it's beautiful to receive that. But I created a program called Careers Queen, and that is a whole series of modules, which really, if you implement all that, you are guaranteed to change something in your career. Like I say, if you want a new job, a better job, a promotion, people always do. You know, they maybe they've been overlooked for a promotion, and then they get, you know, 2 new job offers or 2 promotions or big bonus, or, you know, their business quadruples in size, like I said. So you get access to that as well. So and all the modules that I keep on adding, all the little series, they're all in there. I updated the body program, the body, mind and business, the main sort of body, mind, business program, just earlier in the year, actually. And I refreshed all the exercises. So you get all the exercises as well. So I teach you from scratch on there how to weight train. And I don't just say lift this and push that and move this. I actually explain to you anatomy, and I explain to you how our body's made up and all the different muscle groups and what's the best thing to do to, you know, build a muscle. And it can be anything. You know, you don't actually need, you can do weight training like that with you see, and you can, as long as you've got mind muscle connection, you can build a bicep. You know, you don't have to go to the gym, and the vast majority of our clients actually don't. They don't go to the gym. We run live workouts as well. And that's the other thing to say is, if you subscribe, if you're one of, because this is new, so if you're one of our founder members of the Platinum group, then we're going to send you some freebies. I actually won't say what. I'll tell you the sorts of things. There will be access to some lives. We've got some YBNB caps, which you may have seen me on my Instagram. We've got some YBNB jumpers, and we do some beautiful events in London, where, you know, I belong to a few different clubs in London, and we've had some wonderful lunches and things like that. Plus, we've gone to places like Fortnum's, and sometimes, you know, I take people to my gym, and I let them, you know, do the HBOT, the oxygen chamber, and the cryotherapy, and you know, I train with them and things like that. So there's lots of little perks that are going to be exclusive to our Platinum group. So I think that's really where I'm going to stop. I'll see if there's any other questions. Yeah, so what if you want to do a live call? Does the membership include live workouts? What if I want to cancel? Well, you can cancel when you want. So you'll have access all the time. You're, you know, paying the subscription. The subscription, like I say, is less than £3 a day. I think your coffees are probably more than £3 a day. It's less than that. And you pay it monthly. It's even cheaper if you pay it quarterly, and cheaper still if you pay for the whole year. So you have access until you stop paying, basically. You stop paying when you want. Does it include live workouts? No, but if you want to do, we have a separate live workout option. Obviously, that's going to be more expensive because, you know, my trainers run that. Annabelle, my daughter, runs it primarily. I also do live workouts with you on a Saturday. And we do that for our longevity group. That's a face-to-face group. If you're interested in that, then you can drop us a line later and I'll tell you about that. What's the best calls to start with? Best calls to start with. Well, I think I've covered that, haven't I? I've said, you know, most people start with one of the 3. So it depends, you know, if you think you know what it is that you want to do, I'd start with the 30-day challenge. If you're not sure and you're thinking, well, I'm not quite sure what I want. A lot of people think that. Start with best year ever. And if maybe there's a very specific need, you're interested, you've heard about this meditation thing, you think it's about time you start, then maybe, the 28 days meditation might be the one for you. Do you get instant access? Yes, you will get instant access. And those of you who click to buy at the end of this, then we'll I think it automatically puts you into the membership. But anyway, either way, we'll make sure that you get straight into the membership. So I will leave it there. I've overrun a little bit. I was going to do half an hour, but we're 40 minutes in. I hope it was of interest, and we will continue with some of these. If you have more questions, I may do another one for you maybe next week. But for now, when this switches off, you will have access to an offer. It will be considerably cheaper because you'll be a founder member, and the offer will have a short window of opportunity. It will start to count down. You'll see that when it comes up. So I'd love to see you join. And the other thing to say to you as well is, as part of joining, you get access to the community. So you can ask questions of me anytime and I will come on and answer them. So you will have access to me 24 hours really. And I can't promise that I'll immediately answer like that, but definitely in a few hours you'll get an answer from me. And I just want you to achieve what you want to achieve in life. That's what I've found is possible. I found it's possible for me. I found it's possible for others. We never fail with a client if they do the things that we suggest they do. As you'll see on the podcast of my son, I've had so much experience. It hasn't all been upwards. I've had all sorts of challenges to deal with as well. In fact, I did say to him, we didn't really hit on enough of the challenges. He said, oh, I didn't know if you wanted to. And I said, yeah, definitely want to talk about challenges because we all have them. Yeah, for me, it hasn't been an upward trajectory. It's gone up and down. And out of challenges, good things always come. You always learn stuff. And as long as you're trying and you're taking little steps forward, then gradually you get to your goal. So whether you want a fit body, a happier mindset, better relationships, more money, a new company, better company, or just a fitter, healthier body with the potential of a longer lifespan. And if you want to have impact on the friends around you, because they'll all be asking you, how you do it, then I know that this will help you. And I'd love to do that. Okay, have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you for joining, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.